Hi, everyone. Good evening. Welcome back for Detox. And restorative and relaxing for your body and for your muscles. And if you've been before, you have an idea. If you've never been, it's very exciting because you may not know exactly how deep the release may be that is coming. And even if you practiced Detox many times, you never really know where it's going to go. So it's a nice way to kind of explore a lot of stillness. You get to explore a lot of your mind in that stillness and hopefully feel nice and relaxed and at peace. And if you're doing this in the evening, ready for bed, if you're doing it in the morning, hopefully it puts you into a nice calm state as you go into your day. A hot one here today in LA. Pretty warm. Spent quite a bit of time here at the studio, which is nice. And then I feel like, just going out, going to the park or going for a walk or, had to go to the grocery store, but just in getting ourselves in, kind of past some of the fear of, being isolated as obviously the, safer at home order here in Los Angeles, that's what they call it. So as that is slowly incorporating us back into our lives and our flows and, things that we love doing, we'll have to break down some of the fear that we may be holding on to subconsciously to go out and do those things. So I know for me at first it was just, getting in the car was a daunting task because I had gotten so conditioned to be home and to really respect that and, keep things as safe as I could for my family. And so little steps, and then mitigating the risk however you can, however you feel, that makes sense for you and for the people that you interact with or that you come in contact with. There's a lot of people out there. We're almost 8 billion people in the world. Hey, Roz. Yes, our mats beckon us. It's exciting. I mean, I know we all have other things, but there is a calling, and, I go from the house now back to the studio, and, it's still just kind of incorporate things in a different way, as far as getting Ben's bath done and getting him set up for bed, and, but now leaving versus being there, it's different for sure. He definitely got used to having me around all the time, which I really loved and appreciated. Emily, good evening. Brian Boone. Let's see. I'm still doing the earbuds, you guys. I know I said I was going to switch over to Spotify. So we'll probably give it through the end of this week, and then we'll go with Spotify, just giving everybody an opportunity, if they don't have Spotify and they would like to, have the music, an opportunity to check that out or try that out. Right, and I think, Roz, to your point, the new normal, if the new normal calls us to, insert our practice on a regular basis, make this a part of, as important as, whatever we think is important, it's nice to, insert this space for ourselves and take on whatever it is that may be coming to us in the future. There will still be opportunities with challenges and opportunities that feel effortless. So, we'll just have to ground ourselves, support each other, and there's other things that are going on in the world. I don't know how much, we have in the capacity, but there's so much that needs our hearts right now, and calls us to and support each other, things outside of the pandemic. Life didn't just stop. People, and I hear stories every day. Somebody, had a friend pass away from cancer during the pandemic, and these things in life continue and to happen and roll through. So there's a lot of reason to be on our mat and to always invest in this space and this calm and this peace, so that we can share the love and spread the love, and figure out how we can and contribute in some way. So if that's good enough for you, it's good enough for me, to continue our practice. Debo, good evening. Hey, I want to make sure I'm saying this right. Era or Era? If you could text or type in the live chat. I just want to make sure I'm saying your name correctly. I think I've switched back and forth a couple times, but I normally try to remember everybody's name at the studio. And when I'm not sure, or if I forget, I'll say, "Hey, can you remind me of your name again?" It's just nice to know and to be clear and to ask if you're not. Christine, good evening. Pamela and Sydney, welcome back. Let's see if Woni is going to join us as well. Era? Did I say Era first? See, I forgot again. I wanted to show you guys this. Brian Rye, one of our students, he introduced this to me originally, but it's called Hypervolt, and the company is recently named Hypervice, and it's a nice recovery tool. We have a lot of tools, but I just posted on my Instagram story on my @YogaLifeJoeK, and there's like 4 different attachments that you could put into this. But I was doing it on the sole or on the arch of my foot, and what's crazy is that it's not like there's things necessarily going on. Like, I could feel my feet. We've been practicing for 72 days in a row, and Ari, I think we're 128 or something like that in classes in a row. So you feel things, but when you put something like this to just kind of vibrate and move that fascia and that soft tissue around, it helps getting that blood flow. So I'll hold it on a spot, and then I'll gently move it around, and then when it stops, you can kind of feel the pulsating effect and the after effect, just like we do in the practice with Detox. So I think this is pretty cool, and I try to do it before my Detox classes to wake the body up in certain places, and then sit with it. So I just wanted to show you guys that. Oh, nice. Now I'll never forget Era. Era, just like the period of time. That is very helpful. Thank you. Nice, Christine. Do a little playlist tonight. Totally normal if you guys are feeling, different sensations. You're breaking down a lot, especially in Detox. So, if you're feeling those hips and you're feeling the back and you're feeling the shoulders, make sure you're hydrating, especially these hot days in Los Angeles. If I'm going to use this as an example, this is, what is this? A liter. So basically, and this is 33.8 ounces. The typical way to measure how much water you should drink, every person on a daily basis, is to take your body weight and then divide it by 2. So make it simple for me. 180 divided by 2, 90 ounces of water. So roughly 3 liters a day. So if you're not drinking that many ounces, half of your body weight, and try to work yourself up to it. You don't want to like chug and overdo it, but space it out throughout the day and see how you feel. Moni, there you are. All right, Rosa, welcome. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and start the playlist. If you're following along on Spotify, go ahead and start yours. Make sure we get all set up. If you're streaming the music, and once you get set up, we're actually going to start in a seated position. So I'm sitting on my block. If you'd like to sit on part of your stack, if you don't have a block, and feel free to do that. But we'll sit cross-legged. You could face the top of your mat. And it doesn't have to be all flat through the shins. You can simply have one ankle crossed or one shin crossed in front of the other. Oh, hey, Stephanie, welcome. Welcome for your first time. So if you have a yoga block, have a yoga block beside you. You might be sitting on it right now. But also, if you don't, you could use a pillow or have a blanket alongside you. So just go ahead and grab that, because you might use that to insert. And it's very helpful to know when we have somebody new, so that I can give you a little context. You'll be holding in these postures for 3 to 5 minutes at a time. And I encourage you to release and relax your muscles as much as you can. So this is the opposite of flow, activating the muscles against gravity and building strength. We want to release the muscles, and so that in the weight of our own body, we can compress into certain parts and joints and internal organs, and just really work with the fascia and the connective tissue. Okay, and we sit in it and we just observe. We let our breath be natural. You can incorporate a mindfulness meditation, as we'll start here, and closing your eyes down, and without changing the breath, and just begin to watch the breath as the air comes into your body, however it may be, and as the exhale leaves your body. You just watch that with your mind. Place a soft focus. And even here in a seated position, you might be getting some sensations that are less than comfortable. I think most of the space, and what eventually turns into relaxation and peace, is drawn out through our stillness. So there may be moments where your mind wants to compete with the stillness. Obviously, involuntary movements are going to happen involuntarily, but if there is a volunteering aspect, element of your mind conscious about wanting to move and do your best, not to resist, but just to notice it and continue in the affirmation of stillness. And so let's take a minute or so here. And hands on your lap or your knees, supporting shoulders soft. And relax the jaw and the face. And just see how stillness feels tonight with some silence. And I'd say somewhere back around 45 days ago in our quarantine, I mentioned that there's so many distractions that can pull you off of your mat that it's not successful, but practice is committing yourself to stay on your mat for the next hour, because I know that there's things at the house that can pull you away quite easily. And if you notice distractions or things around you, let that be a part of your practice. Acknowledge that it exists. It could be, the dog that comes by, or the kids can swoop through. Let all that energy and be a part of your practice without, pulling it in and attaching firmly, but also without pushing it away. And let it all be a part of your practice tonight. Let's blink the eyes a couple times. Notice the space around you. You would feel that space inside of you. And slowly you can make your way off of your stack, and you'll feel it as you start to uncross your legs. And turn to face the top of your mat if not already. And then let's set up in a Sphinx pose. And you'll notice the dance in Detox if you haven't already picked up on it, but it's like if you've been crossing your legs for a while, and then it's likely that you're going to come into a pose where your legs are not crossed. And so it's opening up that flow and the chi, and to move a little bit more freely. Go ahead and set up on the front of your hips. You can spread your knees and your feet as wide as it feels good, and your elbows. And set up underneath your shoulders or slightly in front of your shoulders. And therefore your forearms will hold in your chest in a place, and where it's extended, there's a slope moving up from your tailbone to your sternum. You feel your shoulder blades collapse down in towards your spine. And if it feels like little effort, you can keep your gaze definitely down but somewhat forward, or you can just let your chin fall even further towards your chest. Remember, soft focus. If the mind is really busy, soft focus and observe the air and coming in and going out of your body. And be still. Keep relaxing the muscles in your legs and the front of your thighs. If you've been sitting quite a bit, or if you work at home right now and sit in front of a computer, and you might definitely feel this in your low back. It's not really a natural gift with our bodies to sit at a desk and for as long of a period of time as we typically do. And with that being known for some time, it's kind of interesting to see how, standing desks, and really just in the last decade or so, I'm sure people have been doing it, but the idea of sitting as long as we do, driving in our cars, Netflix and chill, or whatever those kids call it these days. And so we got to get that flow, we got to get that chi. This practice is for everybody, young, old. You might be feeling this in your shoulders as well. We'll stay for about 30 more seconds. Feel the sensations without pushing back. At the end of your next breath, and bring your gaze forward. Start to walk your elbows out and slowly bring your right cheek down onto the back of your hand. Stack your palms. And you might feel a pulsing effect in your low back. Rest your cheek on your hands. Close the eyes, soften your bum. And bring your chin back onto your hands, please. And curl your heels in so they're over your knees. And then gently windshield wiper your feet side to side so it's going to roll you on the front of your thighs, through the front of your hips. You might feel a little crack in your pelvis and around your sacrum. Go slow. You bring your legs back down onto the ground, hands underneath your shoulders. And draw with your just a little bit to support your low back. You make your way up to all fours. And crawl your knees forward a little bit. If your ankles and your knees and your feet are pretty tight, you can always put a block or part of your stack in between your feet first. Otherwise, go ahead and sit down, hips to your heels, and hands to your thighs. And so you're back seated like we started, but with your legs in a different shape. And curl your fingertips into your palms and then take your knuckles, and so they're resting on the top of your thighs, but close to your belly. Soft belly, start to lean forward and let your knuckles fold into your belly as your head comes down. And the elbows are going to want to hold themselves up. Let them fall towards the earth. And keep softening through your exhale. Eventually, and your head might touch the ground, but it doesn't have to. And take the bite out of the jaw. And stay with it about 30 more seconds. And definitely not a pose where you make a lot of friends in this one. So if you're a little angry at me, it's pretty normal. And start to feel the weight of the head. And gently begin to roll yourself back up. And you can have your eyes closed as you take the weight and the pressure out of your diaphragm. Spine stacks, palms can release, facing up. Somewhere in your next breath, your next 3 breaths, you can let out a little bit of a sigh. Feel some of the weight of your shoulders fall off. Okay, so that's a good diaphragm release. Open your eyes. Hope you didn't have a full belly for that one. And rock off onto your left hip. And bring your left heel forward so your shin is parallel to the top of the mat. Keep your outer left thigh flat to the mat. So we're not lifting and rolling the hips square like pigeon. Outer left thigh stays on the mat, and then your right leg. I'll move this. And your right knee, you can slide it back. And let the knees stick to the mat. Take your right forearm to the sole of your left foot. A nice place to connect the dots. And then left elbow can come forward. And find a space, let your head rest. And hopefully you feel something in your T-band tissue, the out, and the external inside of your left leg. It's not a muscle, it's just tissue, connective tissue. And don't worry about what it looks like other than the legs set up. Just release your muscles and find the space where you can drop into it. Make sure you are released here. You're not holding yourself up with the strength of your body. If you need part of your stack or blocks in places, please put them there.
If you're feeling it, that's all that matters. Stay with the stillness, the practice. You might have some aches and moans and groans coming out of your body. Let those come. Anything that appears, and observe it with less or with little or with no judgment at all eventually. But that takes practice too. You got to start somewhere. And again, notice the weight of the head. Start to hover the forehead and wherever it was landed, and then bring your right hand back to the mat. Slowly come back up onto your left hand. Slide your back knee forward. And definitely our mind is going to be on the left leg as you bring your right leg in front. And then let's go ahead and lie down onto our backs. And notice the feelings on the left side of the body versus the right side of the body, back into the heart side of the body. And hopefully it feels good to rest on your back here and release some openness across your chest. And let your eyes, your nose, all the way down to your toes soften. And take a breath, everybody. Bring some movement back into your fingertips and your toes. Reach your arms over your head and be mindful of anything that is over your head. And feel your full body stretch. Point your toes. You can yawn. Feel your back and your shoulders. And bend your legs. Bring your feet flat onto the mat. And just notice the feelings. You are different in your being now than you were when we started. Roll onto your right side. And come back up to your seat. And we'll go on to the outer right thigh this time. And swing your left leg back behind you. And so outer right thigh stays on the mat. And your shin is parallel to the top of the mat. Slide your left knee back. And then take your left forearm to the sole of your right foot. And right elbow comes forward. And then you can start to let your head and your torso drop. And relax the breathing, let it be natural. No force, no sound. Observe the air as it comes into your body and as it leaves your body. We don't know because we didn't stay, but consider what staying or what patience really could provide. Not to go back in time and say, oh, if I stayed a little bit longer. Sometimes we stay way too long. And it's also okay to feel the flow and be clear and continue on. But those moments where, if we cultivated this inner practice of patience and in peace, we were able to stay a little bit longer. What might we have learned or developed? Could 1 minute actually change the course of your entire life? It sure can. And you can develop and evolve in this practice where you're not concerned about how long you're going to be in the pose. Without tracking time, you can be in the pose from 3 to 5 minutes. And you don't have to measure that scale. It's being held. It's part of the space. It's part of the opportunity. And hopefully as you're getting deeper and deeper, in 3 to 5 minutes feels like 10 to 15. If you notice any part of your body that's holding on, gripping in any way, and take a look at it, scan that part of your body, and you observe your exhale. And you can sink into releasing that part of your body without moving at all. And we'll stay for about 5 more breaths. And the head is heavy, the eyes can remain relaxed. And start to lift the head, come back to your left palm. Back up to your right palm. Begin to slide your left knee forward. And feel the sensations, the tingles in your right leg coming off your hip. And then you can make your way all the way down onto your back. You certainly might feel that with your legs going long all the way back up into your hip flexors. They were drawn in, compressed pretty deeply. And so as you fall back, the hip flexors are coming back to a more extended place, more of a neutral place, which neutral, if you haven't really explored neutrality or equality in all aspects of your life, that could be a cool yoga life practice for the next year or so. In case you're looking for something else to do behind the scenes for the next year in your practice. And be still here, close your eyes, feel the rebound. Let a breath bring you back, and wherever your mind may have drifted, feel a sensation in your body come back into your body. And bend your legs so that your feet are flat, please. And if you have a stack, yoga block, you can collect your yoga block or your pillow or your blanket and lie down onto your back with your legs bent. Press through your feet, lift your hips, and then slide your stack on the lowest height. So if it's a block, the lowest height, you want about 4 inches elevation to your pelvis, underneath your sacrum. Set your shoulders, reset your head. So even if it's a blanket or a pillow, we're just getting the pelvis to lift up a little bit. And then from here, bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees fall apart. And so we're elevated in supine Baddha Konasana, reclining butterfly pose. With your feet together, you can always slide the heels a little further away.
This may feel like the most symmetry you've been able to adapt towards, inward from a physical, emotional, and mental perspective in quite some time. So let the body in symmetry and continue to feed this interpretation, your definition of what balance means to you tonight in your life today, not what it was in the yesteryears, not what it was before 2020, but what it is and what you see right now when it comes to balance. If you fell out or possibly even fell asleep, feel the breath come back inside. You're probably going to be a little more vulnerable in your hips and your low back. And so go very slowly to start to turn your knees back up towards each other. And what you're getting through feeling is to understand with your mind what it's like to incorporate and to have more space in your body and how that feels. And once your feet are flat, and a little lift of your hips, take your stack out. And you can place it by your side, or you're welcome to bring it underneath your head for a little pillow. And set the hips down. And set, feel if it's okay underneath your head. If you want that, if you don't, you can let your head rest on the ground, the block pillow or the stack pillow, and helps to free up the base of the neck if you're one to hold on to a lot of tension in your shoulders. And this will kind of create a nice secondary sensation there. Let's bring the right knee towards your chest, interlace the fingers on top of your right shin, and more like the center of the shin versus the top. Relax your belly, keep your right leg here, and then go ahead and release your left leg long. If you need any reset through your body, your shoulders, your hips, or your head, make that adjustment. Relax your jaw and close your eyes. This could feel nice. At this point, you may notice it all weaving together, physical elements of the practice, the emotions, and the mind. As you continue to go inward, you might then break through those layers and those frequencies and then find yourself in a state where it feels more like you're existing in a portal of space. And all that means is that you're a little less attached. And when you're less attached, you're more inclined to see things how they are without judgment. Things about yourself, things about others. And so therein lies the honor. If we could all truly feel the honor when we access that type of space. Bring it back and observe a breath. And wherever you may have gone, then you can soften and the grip on the shin. Let the shin slide out of the hands. And your right leg can release back onto the mat. It might feel really heavy right now. And so let it fall. It might even feel like it falls through the ground. So heavy. And lots of flow back into your legs tonight. Let's bring the left knee in, please. And take the hands, interlace the fingers back onto the shin, but more of the center of the shin versus the top. And set the shoulders. And you don't have to pull. The weight of the hands and the weight of the arms is plenty. And that'll assist gravity, and so that as your hip crease does soften, the thigh will come in a little bit closer towards you. And back to your breath, wherever your mind may have gone, drifted. You watch this release as you soften the grip. And let your shins slide through. And then your left leg can slide all the way back out. And then take your hands to your block or your stack if it's under your head, and slide it back so that your head can come back down onto the ground. And take your arms, try them up here over your head, see how that feels. And if it would feel better with your arms by your sides or your hands resting on your belly, please. And please indulge yourself and make your way into the most comfortable position and you can be in here on your back. If you have something close by and you'd like to cover your eyes, and you're welcome to close your eyes or cover your eyes. And go ahead and fill up your lungs. Take a deeper breath in. Open mouth, exhale. A little sigh and release all the air from your body. And do another inhale patiently. Fill up your lungs all the way to the top. And exhale, a little sigh. Release all the air from your body. One more. Breathe in. Breathe in. Breathe in. And exhale, let it all come out. In complete stillness, you have arrived. And you've arrived in a place in where you can feel a little more compassion, and where you can give and you can receive and support and love, and to people you know, and energetically to people that you don't know. In a space where clearly it's about you, but there is a selflessness, and seasoning to a beautiful selflessness. When you're able to sit in your practice this way. A lifetime is a lifetime, everyone. Unfortunately, it doesn't come with a guarantee as to how long that is going to be. And so let's celebrate it while we're here. You celebrate those that are no longer. And practice in a way where we can strive to wake up a little bit more. An expansion of our awareness, and to receive, curious and connected, conscious state of being, blended with a flow, a meditation that goes with us no matter where we go. And I want to thank you all so much for enriching and holding space for this practice tonight. You're all space holders. And keep sharing the practice, keep spreading the love, and kindness, and patience. It's tricky out there, but it's really simple inside here. Be well, everyone. Stay as long as you like. And I look forward to seeing you all in the morning for our flow practice. Namaste.